G'day mate and welcome back to Oxygen Not Included with me, JD. We're starting with our rocket because that just seems like the easiest. We're gonna send Meep here because for some reason this is not fully researched. Even though we already sent a rocket here. Mid-update. So that's probably why it's not researched. Okay. What's happened? So I've dealt with Oxygen Not Included. So one of the major parts of this update was all this data is meant to be saved between games. It's written in the patch notes. But I think it's written in the patch notes as in, it's going to happen this update. But this update's not fully complete yet. Because it still doesn't work. Who's scolding where? Oh yeah, that's a really bad place to be. Yeah, bad luck, horsey. Okay, back to our rocket silo. So, I installed this in an effort to sort of bring in the power we had from the solar panels and set up a whole new bunker system with miners that will get covered, but the idea is hopefully I can put shipping, no, shipping, another robo miner in the middle, or even just put a little roof above these guys because that's all they need to protect them, and hopefully they stop overheating because these are made out of gold, and as you can see so far. Well, that one's not. That one's already needs repair. So far, they're keeping their temperature down. It's a work in progress experiment. The other problem with the space scanner is you need to put a roof over them to protect them. But once they have a roof over them and they close the doors to stop getting hit with meteorites, their scan quality goes to 0. And the network quality goes to 0. So there is a chance, and I think it's one of the things that's been bugging my game and what's causing me all this damage up in space, is they would detect incoming objects between 1 and 200 seconds before they arrive. And I actually think what's happening is the meteor storm's starting to end, and they start opening up the doors, but there's still 200 seconds worth of meteors. And the doors get fully open, and I start taking impacts before they suddenly go, okay, meteor storm's over, alright, and they can stay open. So yeah, this is a work in progress. We're going to see how this runs. I'm expecting problems. We'll come back to it. Meep's going to launch when he gets his ass up here. We have filled out this. It is pretty bunker-proof now. We've got tiles down the bottom. We've got crap down here still for some reason. We've got our water pit for this rocket. And the other rockets I'm going to build on a lower platform. And they've got a water pit as well to sort of absorb some of that heat that comes out. My attitude is we're just going to fill this up with whatever liquid we have laying around. So that's that. I do want to deconstruct some of this crap, just whilst I think about it. Oh, and I did have, which seems to have gone missing already. Excellent. I did have a robo miner here. And the idea of this robo miner is it's going to clear out anything that lands at the base of this rocket, and hopefully the rocket beside it. But again, still a work in progress. What else has happened? We're trying to get rid of the rest of the steam because it keeps compressing or condensing and breaking all the pipes. This room. Now, this room has run perfectly fine for ages. I've added more batteries, but I did take out some transformers. And now, for some reason, everything is overheating, even though the temperature is oxygen, 135. So yeah, 135 is definitely overheat temperature. And they're only made out of copper. Of course they are, JD, because he didn't change the button over. So that sort of fixed my problem with not having enough power on these circuits, because they start draining the batteries. But now, as you can see, all the batteries are full all the time, even when all the doors open at once. Whatever this is called. Telescope keeps breaking. No idea why. It just keeps breaking. Continuously. I'm really, really jack of it, to be honest. We have oxygen supply again, because that broke as well. These solar panels, there's nothing wrong with them in theory, but they keep overheating. Again, no idea why. The area around them is hot, but there's no reason for it to be hot, I guess, is probably the best way of putting it. Not unless the chandelier happens to put out heat or something. I don't know. It does look like the chandelier puts out heat. So yeah, I don't know what the story is there. Why 4 dupes not... Take that out. Take that out. Take that one tile out. It's always one tile. One tile. How did Regolith get down there? And we need to fill in all that with drywall. I have told the dupes to build some drywall over here behind these solar panels. We'll see if that damages them. If it does, it's going to be a case of, okay, having solar panels with drywall, i.e. an atmosphere, is what actually kills them. If we just leave them in a vacuum, they're perfectly happy. Next off on the list, we somehow got polluted water in here, which, as it's a closed system, you can imagine how much of a nightmare it was to fix up. And there's now water down there. Great. Something else I've got to fix. So yeah, that took ages to fix. Trying to get dupes in and out and all sorts of things. Along with having dupes come along and empty particular pipes. And as I said, no idea why it happened. It happened. The only thing I can put it down to is... Is it that one? That one? That one? This one. So this one has polluted water in it, even though it shouldn't. It's meant to be on the clean water side. And I think that's my easiest way of dealing with that problem. Just deconstruct the damn thing. Although I don't think dupes... No, that door's still unlocked. So they can get in and out. So yeah, that's that problem. Our water compressor is still happily compressing. We're up to 7,500 kilograms or more per tile. So yeah, we're still compressing water. We are pumping the water south first. Okay, we've still got some empty pipe orders left over. That all says water. Good. Yep. So we're pumping the water. We're pumping the water south first, north second. As you can see, whenever the south draws some water, we have gaps in the north main line. It's fine. This little guy here will fill any gaps we get. It takes time. It's going to take us ages to pump all that water out. Next. Our food is still very, 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 very full. I didn't actually realise how much barbecue I had. Turns out I got quite a bit. Along with the fried mushroom and the pepper bread. So we're good for food for a while. In fact, I'm pretty sure I set this one to make 100 pepper bread. And there's only one in there. So, frostbun. What is consumables? Consumables. What is the really, really good food? It is pepper bread and barbecue. Yeah. And we have heaps of one and a decent amount of the other. What does pepper bread need? It needs 10 units of slate weight, and so we can still make 13 lots of pepper bread. Or we can make 1,000 units of frostbite. Our pinch of peppers is actually what's slowing us down. And unfortunately, we're still dealing with natural grown plants. But that will change. That will be one of the things we'll actually be changing. On top of that, our Drecko farm. This took like 5 attempts to actually get right. Okay, so it's taken a lot of practice to get here, but we now have our Drecko farm. And we'll start with the top one. So the idea is I've got 2 incubators, so I can do Drecklet and Glossy Drecko on continuous, and just run them and forget them. I got a critter deliver. 6 seems to be about the limit. Glum. I think that's because you're not being patted enough. Tame. Or maybe it's because you're hungry, because I can't get half the plants to grow, because when I pop this open, a lot of the heat we had in here escaped. So I've got to wait for the heat to build back up. 35 is the minimum. And I can't remember what temperature... Go on, move, Dreckos. Let me click on one of you. 35. So, I've got to wait for the temperature to get back up to 35 and everything should kick off again. Alright? We're really close. We're like 34-ish. And to help it along, I have a petroleum pipe, which is insulated, but even then, you get some temperature leak through, which is at like, you know, 50-odd, 60-odd degrees. So, there's that. On top of that, some of this equipment puts out heat, and it is insulated, so in time, it will heat up and it'll get to that, hopefully, ideal temperature. So, I've got balm lilies across the bottom. And I've probably got too many plants to feed the amount of Dreckos I have, but that's fine. I prefer to have too much food rather than not enough food. We have our grooming station and our shearing station. And Dupe's got a path in here, up and jump ladders, because it's the only way I could get in. Scolding again. Oh, you're still playing with glass. Okay. Moderate wounds. Maybe we should go pop you on a bed. Okay. Yeah. It's the only way I can get the auto sweepers in. So the auto sweepers both reach this one compactor at the middle, which is set at the moment to everything, because I want it to clean up all the rubbish from the previous attempts, the deconstructions, the everything else. It's not picking up seeds, and it's not picking up eggs, and it's not picking up sleeping grain for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah. So, as you see, these both have complete coverage. And conveyor overlay. I ran the conveyors together. It's going off to our main storage line, which has always been backed up because, let's be honest, there's a lot of crap to still be emptied. Oh, actually, they're all done. So what do you have in you? A bit of everything. Oh, you've got sand, because sand gets put in here manually and then shipped out. Okay, so that means you can be deconstructed, and you can be deconstructed. Actually, we'll just let you clean up the storage containers worth first. Pinch of pepper seeds? Really? I got seeds here. Cooking ingredient. Oh, they're the pinch of pepper seeds. Yeah, we're not going to ship those. We'll just leave them on the ground somewhere. Okay. So then, these guys, the only time... scale growth. So the only time their scales grow is when they're in a hydrogen atmosphere. And if we come down to this guy... oh, starving. Excellent. We can see scale growth is 100%. Bad example. Bad example. You. Scale growth is 0. And you're wild too. I'm doing really well. Yeah, the dupes obviously haven't got in here to do enough padding yet. So, what I've done is I've got 2 vents in. One for chlorine, one for hydrogen. Okay? And they're both standard vents, so we're talking about a max pressure of about 1.5k. And as you can see, this is unfortunately still open to the outside atmosphere. So there is a chance that the chlorine could push the oxygen out, and it is getting awfully high, and I am probably leaking. Is there any other empty pipe commands going around that I don't know about? Yeah, so we are probably starting to push the chlorine out slowly. We'll see. We'll come back to it. If there is, I'm just going to put in a water lock. So I'll have my exos just a couple of tiles earlier, and I'll put in a water lock to stop any air getting out. It's the easiest solution. I have... Back to the automation. So I've got this guy, which is set to hydrogen through a knot into the actual... what's that? Gas shutoff. So if it's not hydrogen at this tile, we'll pump in hydrogen. Same up here. If it's not hydrogen, we'll pump out hydrogen. This one's set to chlorine. If it's not chlorine, we'll pump out chlorine. So, because of the way this is set up, it's really only aiming to fill the top tile with chlorine. Ideally, I'd like a nice balance. So the top half was chlorine and the bottom half... the top half was hydrogen, the bottom half was chlorine. And due to space... That's our biggest issue. Space in this, because it is room overlay. It's 91 tiles. It is about as small as I can make it. And I could extend it further, but then I wouldn't have sweeper coverage. Which means there is a chance that these guys would drop phosphorite, which I'm going to need if I want to do pincher peppers. And reed fiber, which I'm going to need if I want to do paintings on the ground, a spot where I couldn't get to it with an auto sweeper, which then means that I have dupes coming in here and running around and dealing with it that way. So I have these 3 tiles free, this tile free, those 4 tiles free, and that tile free. That's it. And technically this tile's free as well, yeah. So really the only thing I can do is I need chlorine filled to this height, or to be more exact, actually no, I could probably just have the ground with chlorine. I'm not sure, that might require another little bit more experimentation. In theory, the biomes is only reading off the bottom tile, so if I have chlorine all the way down here and then I put the hydrogen one here, because that is a free tile. Alright, let's try that. Gas element sensor out of gold, because that's probably the item we've got closest. Automation wire. There to there to there to there. Delivered iron. Really? That quick? Don't happen to have iron on the other side? Gold. Construction area, construction area, construction area. Can you reach any gold? No. Iron. Alright, we'll try... automation wire out of gold. No, the auto sweeper's not even moving. Damn. And you're just going to keep shoving me in this rocket. It's all pretty nice. We're just going to wait for a Jeep to come along and do it. Here we go. Eagle Andy. Build. 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 Oh, power. Damn. It's just that one. And there's gold right there. So if you just shove the gold into the power cables, I'll be as pleased as punch. Just build this, build this, build this. You're going to detect chlorine. And everybody's going to bed. Because, yeah, obviously I want the environment to be as much hydrogen as possible to encourage that growth. But I need the chlorine there so they have stuff to eat. Because I honestly do not want to deal with having to, like, well, Drecko's only live food, so I can't even bring food in with automation for them to eat. It really has to be a you know, here is food, go nuts. You know, it's been grown right there for you. Bop, bop, bop. This could be done as well. Some hydrogen there, and then deconstruct, 9. You're done. Deconstruct, 9. So what's happening with our automation? So you're detecting it there, which is throwing this guy's signal off. Because that's the chlorine environment. So, a couple of deconstructs later, and then we can actually test this out. And then we're going to let it run for however many cycles. But yeah, the gas vents are overpressurizing, and that is half the reason I really want... I really want to not try and level up the pressure as well. I just wanted to say, hey, okay, 1500 is the max pressure for this room, and no more, you know, just deal with it. Ventilation. So it's still letting chlorine out. Even though it shouldn't. That should stop right there. Disable by automation grid. Like, it's never going to be anything other than chlorine, I hope. So it's just turn on. I can't understand why. Oh, there must be a tiny bit of carbon dioxide. There's a tiny bit of carbon dioxide floating back and forth. And there's not a lot I can do about it. And that's one of the reasons I put it up from the ground tile. Yeah, I don't have any... Not without getting rid of another piece of balm lily. And you can't control carbon dioxide because eventually the dupes will breathe out. Same as, like, I've got some polluted oxygen here. I can't do anything about it. Not without, like, filling the whole area with steam first, then condensing the whole room, and then having a vacuum. And then pumping, but even then... Oh, well, they're wearing atmosuits, so they won't breathe out. Yeah, short of making the whole area a vacuum, there's not a lot I can do. And of course, if I make the area a vacuum, I'm going to kill off all my critters. Oh, yeah. Don't have an answer. But we're going to try that. We'll leave that running and see what happens. Power. Add the extra power room. We've got heaps of hydrogen. Where's our compressor? But that was up at 125 kilos. It's now down to 50. Our natural gas kicks on in 26 cycles for that one. And 3.5 for that one. So we will get back a power source soon, just not now. I could sort of do with one now. Hence why I went and put down more solar. What else? This is completely broken still. So it was working last update. Beautifully fine. If we take in iron to steel. Heat. So 117 kilojoules of heat will produce to cool off the fabrication item. So this will raise the temperature of the contained crude oil by 138.4 degrees and heat the containing building. So the building, I don't have to worry about too much. It's at a nice balmy 36 degrees. The oil, on the other hand, temperature... Nope, that's liquid type. Aha. Temperature read. is set to 150. Okay. So 150 plus, what was it, 138 means vaporization point. 400. It doesn't vaporize. It changes. Where's petroleum? 500. See, crude oil goes into petroleum. I thought it was 350. Even if it is 400, if we're bringing in at 150 and adding 138, it still means we're sub 300 degrees. So, yeah, this keeps failing. Now, I do admit fully that right at the moment it's completely backed up because we're not producing petroleum fast enough, because we're not using petroleum fast enough, because I had to disable everything. Enable, enable. So maybe I need a backup one that's going to turn around and run on some sort of water. But even then, I still risk the exact same problem. That if I'm adding 117 degrees to the temperature of the water, that's going to turn it to steam, which means it's going to go through a gas change in the pipe, and it's going to break the pipe anyway. So I don't really have an answer when it comes to this, apart from make sure you have plenty of storage with wherever it's going to. Like even that, it's 200 degrees. I can't even recirculate that back around. Not without really risking things. Now, I can now set this a lot more variable. So I can go up really, really hot now. So I could, like, if I can take it up to 399, I could say, okay, only run it if it's below 250. And in theory, that would fix my problem. But again, in the patch notes, it said that this wouldn't run. It wouldn't run if it couldn't output, and it couldn't overheat the liquid. So, like, I've got 3.5 tons at 3,000 degrees. We're just going to turn on. Nope. I'm going to break the game. Oh, reload. Reload. See how much we lost. Resume game. Yes, we're at cycle 599. We are really... We're trying our best. But the game is getting slower and slower and slower. And I've read up on different ways we can improve the game. Or the speed of the game. And even though, like, they said that they'd moved gases and liquids onto a separate... but they're basically multi-threaded. So liquids and gases can be processed on a separate core. It's not actually working that way for me just at the moment. I'm using the exact same amount of CPU I was before the update and after the update. And it still seems to be on the same about 1.5 CPUs. So I'm not an expert. I'm not saying it's fact. I'm just saying it doesn't seem to be vastly different. And like I said, the game takes a while to load. Okay, so what we're going to do... And like I said, remember how I said all this data on the right-hand side has been to save? So... It now looks like it still doesn't save. It's just that first unpause and pause, which is something I do. And as you can see, suddenly everything's got power. It hasn't calculated whether it's a room yet. Oh look, they're now suddenly rooms. And food is decayed? Like that didn't happen earlier. What the hell was that? Pinch of pepper seed. Balm lily seed. Okay, I wonder what it was before it was a rock pile. How the hell can I have something rot in a pure chlorine environment? I got hydrogen nitric acid up there. But even then, that's on the top tile. change per cycle? 0. Oxygen not included. Alright, what we're going to do, we're going to put on debug mode. And the reason we're going to do this so we can repeat what we just lost. Okay, cancel that, cancel that. Automation. Gas element sensor. Right there. Deconstruct that one. Power, conductive. Join those up. You're going to be set to hydrogen. And you're going to be definitely set to chlorine. Unpause it. Oh. Missed you. Deconstruct. Okay, and that should let more hydrogen. So we can leave that, run away from there. Come back and look at... So we showed off that. We're now looking at this problem. That's what we're going to do. So I had... See, now... We just looked at it. I had 3,600 kilograms of crude oil. And now it's saying the machine's in use. Like, it's not meant to run at all with a broken output pipe. But, we're going to disable, enable. Okay. So you are pumping the crude oil out, which should go this way, except this is completely backed up. Empty pipe. Pump, 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 pump. Pump, pump. Okay. Which now means it's working. Output pipe is full. Which is what's meant to happen. It's meant to say output pipe is full and it just stops working. It doesn't keep taking in crude oil and then breaking, basically. And I've got 800 kilos and 400 kilos at the exact same temperature, so those two should be merged. 2 different temperatures for iron, that's perfectly fine. You know, what they say is in the updates and what's actually in the updates, 2 very different things. Okay. What else do I have to do? I had to turn on our mini pump again because this whole area filled up with carbon dioxide. Nobody could breathe. I had to move our oil pump and shove it down here because we literally ran out of oil. And you're broken again. Temperature, melting point, overheats at 125, and you're sitting there at, what, 102 and overheated. Like, game does not make sense sometimes. You have too many credits. No, you're happy? Glum. Okay, again, we're just not getting to the grooming stations often enough. The dupes have too many things to do. Okay, so what can I do about this? First off, oil comes in, comes out. Out. Alright, we're going to put on debug mode again. No. So this is our oil out, which comes up, around, and bridges over. So our oil out is completely separate from our oil in from the main line. Because the main line oil in, it gets split off, run through all of these, at the same time gets spat around there. So I could start running these and do a bit of steel in each one of them, and that's probably not a bad idea. It doesn't tell me how much liquid I'm going to use. Does that copy 2 at all? Oh, that is such an important update. So that's really all I can do. Just run a little bit of it, all of them. Until I use the petroleum, which is what we did, actually. We went up and we undisabled these. So basically I need to use petroleum as fast as possible to make steel as fast as possible. Because any other coolant is likely to explode. And you're definitely broken. Natural gas, oxygen. Yeah, can't get past yet. Natural gas, nothing, oxygen. Again. So why is the water not going over? Oh, the water's going 2 different directions. That would be why. Liquid bridge. Deconstruct. Oh, turn off debug mode. We don't need debug mode over this. Okay. So it sort of brings us up to date. Sort of. We have an oil problem. We have an everything problem. A power problem. A Meep has not launched off in his damn rocket yet. He's missing the astronaut. Vitals. Meep. Follow cam. What are you doing? You're tinkering. Priority 8. Priority 8. Priority 8. Priority 8. Yeah, my fault for having too many things priority 9. You punch. See, that is priority 8. Using rock granulator. Does that actually lower your stress? Sunny, low morale, pleasant chit chat. I was hoping to lower your stress by beating the crap out of the machine. Alright. Food is decayed. Like, as I said, it's not possible. Chlorine. Oh, there's a drop of natural gas there. I don't even know how this crap gets in here. It is a closed system. It's been a closed system forever. Okay, so we want Meep. Move to... Why can't you get up here? The stupidity of the stupidity. Vitals, Meep, move to here. Oh, yep, that one's broken again. Even with a couple of wheeze warts, we just don't seem to be taking the temperature off. And I had to actually change this whole wall to be insulated because, like, even that, it's 200, 300, 400 degrees insulated wall. Yeah, now dig these out. Come on, Valentine. Oh, you are definitely a sick bass. Okay. Turns out we can't actually get up there anymore. We might want to go put Valentine to bed. Again, I was really hoping that we'd be able to sort by, you know, how sick are you? Nope. Or set a bar that's like, you know, at 50%. Go lay down. I did change the priority of all my beds. Does that count? Alright. Vitals, Meep, follow cam. Where are you, mate? What? Going to fabricate. No. You're going to launch yourself into space. You still can't get to there, you can't get to there, you can't get to there. You can get to there. Follow cam. You can turn around the tube. Excellent. Run out. Atmosphere. Through the doors. Up the ladder. Oh, oh, oh. He might actually be doing as he's told. Launch path blocked. Oh, really? That's awesome. That's a lovely change. Alright. Automation. So if I set you to go, all the doors are going to open. Now the big question is, will you actually... No, you're broken. I really like that repaired before this launches. My question is, will it launch before that crap hits the ground? Or is that crap going to hit the ground? And we might want to shut that. So you're getting a green signal from there. Okay, you're good to launch. Nope, you're now buried. Has gantry. Like what the? There is power. Oh, you come from this side. So you come from this line, which is struggling for power, yet the battery is full. Energy. I know we're using more than we're producing currently, but we still have power in storage. And generator's kicking pretty fast because this is the imaginary gain. So, yeah. Alright, so the only thing I can do is like break this bit of wire and put in a NOT gate. Which doesn't make sense. Like, why would the rocket ready to launch output a green to a gantry that green turns it on? I guess that sort of makes sense when I say it out loud. Yeah. Alright, again, speed up the game. I want to see meat launch. It also means that, yeah, we're ready to start building a second and third rocket. I have 11 tons of steel. So, as I said, we went through all our oil, but we are digging up fossils left, right, and center. Missing gantry. What the hell do you need a gantry for? Oh, I gotta click the launch mission button. Excellent! Be gone! Steam, 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 steam. I was hoping you had a decent amount of carbon dioxide off the other engines. Okay. And yeah, you're auto closing because you're set to... That says incoming object detected. But the object just left. Oh, they're not powered. Okay, now I feel like less of an idiot. Or maybe more of an idiot. Conductive wire. As you can see, even with these guys upside down, and they made it out of steel, 708 temperature of 275, because we have regolith sitting on top at 313 degrees in contact with a bunker tile at 314 degrees, our robot miner gets up to 275 plus and starts melting. So, and the rocket burnt off all its automation wires. Of course it did. All of that can be deconstructed. All of that can be deconstructed. And that. So really I'd have to bring the automation wire under the rocket and all the way back up the other side. And then even then couldn't attach to the actual rocket itself because it'd still blow up. Like, how ridiculous is that? Really? At least Jebediah ended up on top rather than getting buried. And you're not open because crap's falling out of the sky. We're just going to turn you off. Jeb, dig for your life. Jeb. Jeb. Stop expressing yourself and dig for your feet. Oh, Jeb. At least you're down. Alright. Rocket's launched. We're good to go. I'm sorry, I'm yawning all the time. And look, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm the first one to admit I'm not sleeping really, really well at the moment, but that's no excuse. I should not be yawning during an episode. It is oxygen not included. You know, there is a certain amount of watching slow-ass tubes run around, so I guess it's somewhat to be expected. Okay. As for our experiment, it looks like it's worked. So we've now got mostly hydrogen to that level, a little bit lower sometimes, but also mixed in fairly well together. If I could get rid of that one bit of carbon dioxide, we'd be 10 times better. It's there. Unfortunately, carbon dioxide is going to try and go to the right. So had I... Actually, yeah, you really want to build this the other way around, because hydrogen will try and go to the top left, carbon dioxide will try and go to the bottom right. So that means if my doors were on this side, there's a good chance any carbon dioxide would fall out. The oxygen is nothing I can do about it. It'll get stuck in there forever. And really the only answer for that is send in dupes without an atmosuit, and eventually they'll breathe all the oxygen and obviously breathe out carbon dioxide. If that's an airflow tile and there's doors here so the air can get out, the carbon dioxide will fall out, and then in my case, if mine was reversed, I just put a CO2 scrubber down here just to get rid of it. No automation, no smarts, no nothing. Just run it, so if it finds any trace of carbon dioxide, it's going to grab hold of it as soon as it can. Meanwhile, I think it's actually getting colder in here. Probably because we're pumping in gas that's at like 30 odd degrees. Yeah, it's not nearly hot enough. There you go, autosave again. Alright. So we've launched me. Now, as I was saying earlier, the biggest issue I'm actually having is with just the general lag of the game. And I have done research and I found half a dozen things that could help. And the main things that can help is, one, segregating your dupes. So at the moment, like, I've got this door and everybody still has access. So I can lock off this door and only give like 3 dupes access to down here. It does mean that I only have 3 dupes that can get down here, and if there's a material down here but I want to build it up here, one of those dupes have to go get that material to then bring it up. So even if the construction order is like a 9, if their tidy order is really low, or they're busy doing something else that's a priority 8, they might not actually run through the door to get the stuff to bring it back up. By the same token, if I put a separate door, say here, and limit to a different a different set of 5 dupes, and then I want to build something out of diamond, none of them are actually going to be smart enough to send one down here to get a little bit of diamond, to then carry it up to a halfway point where the two of them could meet, to then hand off the diamond. So it does come with that complication. I haven't ruled it out yet, but it's something that we need to consider. What I am probably going to do is our ventilation is... It works, don't get me wrong. But it's a mess of pipes. Okay? And due to some of the changes, like... If you think about this as the way it's actually processed by the game, we've got not a straight pipe, we've got a T intersection, because it's going over and then bridging that way and that way, along with going back through the bridge. Then we got another T intersection, or junction, another T junction, another T junction. And that's for the output. For the input, it's just a straight feed. For the input here, it's a straight feed. It was something that we could do in the past. We could just have straight feeds. We can't now. Just the same as you're pumping out natural gas. If you find anything that's not natural gas, you shove it out there. And if you find natural gas, you shove it into this pipeline, which bridges. Yeah. So what I'm actually looking at doing is I'm looking at, between episodes, probably even doing it in creative mode, because it will take hours, to be perfectly honest. Even in creative mode, where I don't actually have to wait for the dupes to build anything, it'll just happen automatically. Ripping up everything and starting pretty much from scratch. You know, bring down my oxygen pipes, however many I need, and plumbing them to the areas they need to go. Because at the moment, like I said, I've got an air down here, which then this bridge is round the wrong way again, so that has to be turned. But it T junction there, and then over here, and then another T junction, and then another T junction, and then no, that's not a T junction, but this is a T junction. I got a couple of bridges for no reason whatsoever. Another T junction. So that's a feed in as well to refill the pipe. Jump over. T junction. Ends. One of these other pipes. This one is another oxygen pipe, goes there. Again, it's T junction. Yeah, I've got spaghetti on my spaghetti on my spaghetti. And water's no different. Like water, this is the main pipe in. We're running it down and then over and straight through and over. Then we're running it over again and over again. And then I'm splitting it down plus up plus down. I haven't made a loop because the pipes are one directional, but it's close to. So yeah, I'm looking at a full rip up of all the pipes and the plumbing. And, like, you know, this is dead. It's not used anymore. But it's still probably costing us processing power. So I'm just looking at just getting rid of it. Which means there'll be a lot of mopping to do. A lot of pipes that need to be relayed. I'll need to retain my cooling loop. But same story like that. I could probably just pass straight through here to save me a crap ton of time and pipe. This one that was pumping out this little bit of polluted water, it's really at the point where it could be recycled. Just the same as that water should flow over, but it's not because oxygen not included. So yeah, that's sort of where we're up to. That and trying to get steel back up running, because although I say I have 11 tons, I already know rocketry. Solid fuel is 200 tons. Research, oops. For research. We're exactly 2 research points away from a petroleum engine, a liquid fuel tank, and a solid oxidizer tank, which will lead us to our new type of rocket. And then we're quite a while away because we need 800 points for that. From our hydrogen engine, so it's liquid hydrogen with liquid oxidizer for a larger boost and larger rocket, obviously. Then we start working through, you know, solid cargoes, gas and liquid tanks, biological bay, and a sightseeing module. So, as it either next episode or between episodes, one of the two, full pipe reconfigure. After that, we should have unlocked the tech. We're going to build a second rocket for more research. And then we'll actually start looking at setting up basically a resource gathering satellite rocket. Because this one we can bring back refined carbon, coal, diamond, abyssite, and fluorine. This one, refined carbon, coal, diamond, isoresin. This one, iron, copper, obsidian, and who knows what. Or smooth hatches. Not that smooth hatches really help us, but you know, it's not the point. Anyway, I'm going to leave this episode here. I've rambled for far too long, as I always do with Oxygen Not Included. I do hope you guys are enjoying. I'm definitely looking forward to more on the quality of life update. I'm also curious what's happening in Mark II. But in saying that, Mark II is quite some time away. It's like 7.5 weeks or something. Which is good, because it means that hopefully, you know, we actually get to play out a whole based on a whole update rather than over 3 or 4 updates. The other thing I need to look at is I need to look at a automated hatch harvestry. Because that's the next thing I'd like to set up. I'd like to be able to set up so I have 37 wild hatches. I'd like to turn that into 10 tamed hatches and a lot of barbecue. But I don't want dupes coming up here and trying to kill them. I want it all automated. So yeah, that's something else we want to set up. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you're enjoying, and I will catch up with you in the next one. Alright, bye!